Hello and welcome to Commodity Champions, your weekly dose of what's brewing in the commodity space. I'm Manisha Gupta, and today we will be discussing the glittering world of diamonds and gems and jewelry. The pandemic has investors hedging their bets and searching for safe havens. Gold has seen a 30% surge in prices this year, owing to weak global liquidity and uncertainty ahead of the US presidential elections. So is the jewelry sector a safe haven now? The wedding and festive season has helped the sector shine as of late. However, with the demand expected to drop and investment to rise, how must investors approach the sector, and what are the sales and demand levels that the industry has been seeing during the and after the pandemic? Joining us now to discuss this and more is Asher O, who is Managing Director of India Operations at Malabar Gold and Diamonds, and De Beers India's MD Sachin Jain as well joins in. Thank you so much, gentlemen, and it has been quite an year when we look at that. And Asher, I want to start with you because you really have been coming up with various campaigns, especially ahead of the festivities. You have announced rather, One India, One Gold prize. How does that work to begin with?
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much for that question. In India, if you see, the gold rates are different in different locations. In every street, every state, every city, the gold rates are different. If you see, the international price of the gold is same, the import duty is same, and earlier VAT was different. After GST, it is all same in the country. So we thought, why not to have a standard gold rate, which will give more confidence to the customers. So we were discussing in various forums and with the industry and different councils to bring control on the pricing and the standardized pricing where the customers will get more confidence. Because the metal price, everybody knows. Right. Now the online business, e-commerce, all digital world is there. People can check the price, what is happening there. So we thought, like quality standards came into the country. We thought at least the pricing standards also, if it comes, it is good for the customers, and the industry will gain a lot of confidence, which will ultimately give more confidence for the customers to buy gold jewelry and invest in that.
Oh well, absolutely.
So, based on that, we have made sure we have 117 stores in India, spread across south, north, east, west. So we have, from this Navratri onwards, we decided to start this campaign, and we have decided to have one standard gold rate pan-India in all our stores. So the customer, they buy online, omni-channel, or whatever way, they get one standard rate. So they can confidently buy this. They don't have to worry about what is the rate in Kerala, what is the rate in Delhi. So that is the reason we brought in this campaign, which has got tremendous feedback, positive feedback from the customers.
Oh, Asher, I can tell you that there is a lot of conversation and buzz around this One India, One Gold prize. Because, when it comes to gold prices, as you said, everybody knows the international prices. We also know what the import duty is. But when it comes to making charges, when it comes to wastage charges, when it comes to various things that go in the name of value added in case of gold, that really perturbs the customer because you don't know what you're buying at the end of the day in sense of purity and weight, etc. So do you think with this and the initial feedback that you have received, do you think you've been able to actually tackle all of those concerns?
Yeah, making charges varies from the product.
Jewelry to jewelry, right.
The kind of workmanship put in that one and the wastages and all this. Of course, that varies design to design. But the gold rate is something standard, which has to be standard. So the positive we have, after this launch, we have checked with various customers of different age group and locations. So people are confident that, when you have, especially there are a lot of people from South India settled in north, or, their families in a different place. So their concerns are like, what will be the rate there, whether I should buy from there or I should buy from here.
Sure.
I'm working in Delhi, whether I should buy from Tamil Nadu when I go back, or I should buy. So that worry is gone.
All right.
So this is not a Diwali campaign, what we have done. This is a pricing policy which we have started.
Well, the timing is right, Ashar, because this is the time, and especially after the kind of year that we have seen, this quarter is going to be quite important because there is a lot of pent-up demand which is coming into the markets. And that exactly is my question to Sachin, because this quarter, the whole industry is looking forward to the fact that this is a period that will see a maximum of sales coming in, especially when we've seen lockdown continue for 3 or 4 months. The last 6 months have been a washout. So, Sachin, what is your sense? How are you looking at the demand feedback that we have seen until now, and what are the expectations from this quarter?
First and foremost, Manisha, to you and to all your listeners, my heartiest wishes for a very happy and festive season. I think we all deserve to get into festivity and some happy moods. And, it's a very interesting quarter for us. I mean, in the sense that over the last so many months, we've been talking about a very high expectation on October, November, and December. And I can only share with you that at this stage, we are very happy with how it started. Navratri started on the 17th of October. We're seeing a lot of upsurge from consumers coming into the stores. I think it's a combination of pent-up demand. It's a combination of upcoming weddings, but generally the mood is pretty positive. At the initial phase of about July and August, we saw that the big markets like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Calcutta, there was perhaps a lot of scare. The walk-ins were very poor. The tier 2, tier 3 markets had quite a significant contribution and a continuous growth. Over the last month and a half, we see that even in the bigger markets, it's finally getting to normalization. So we're pretty happy and hopeful in terms of the performance we'll see in this quarter.
All right, it's good to hear the cheer in both of your voices where you are expecting good demand to come in. But Sachin, is there a particular number that you're working with? How have the first 3 quarters been in terms of sales? And how much are you expecting for this quarter, if you could give me a number?
If you look at it in totality, Manisha, the first quarter in terms of Jan, Feb, and even the first week of March was quite strong for us as per our mark and overall the diamond business. Of course, then the next quarter was a complete washout. The third quarter, I'm talking about calendar year, the third quarter perhaps was about 30 to 50% of what we saw compared to 2019. And this could be comparative to or different in different businesses or markets. The fourth quarter, the expectation is high. And we believe that we will get to about a 70 to 80% of what we saw in the entire year of 2019, which actually is a very strong comeback. I mean, this sort of comeback is what we see reflecting in the values that are happening in terms of caratage of diamonds that we're seeing on, and certainly the consumer demand is quite ready. And a classic consumption sort of competitors have been travel, have been other forms of entertainment or luxury products and experiences. And I can only say that at this point in time, all of that is at a standstill. We certainly have an advantage, and consumers themselves are looking at investing in consuming things that hold value, things that matter, have a deep meaning, and I think diamonds completely fare very well in that aspiration of consumption.
Oh, absolutely, Sachin. Earlier, if people wanted to celebrate birthdays or anniversaries, they could actually go out and take a smaller vacation or travel as well. But this time around, you can't do all of that. So yes, if you want to show love and care and appreciation, perhaps jewelry is the way to do it. Ashar, the final quarter of this year, as Sachin also said, is what De Beers is looking at, is that you might be looking at 70 to 80% of demand coming back as compared to last year as well. The previous quarter perhaps was 40 to 50%. Is that the ground feedback that you're also getting? And we do see major chunk of buying come in from South India, and that is where you are very heavily spread out. What are you hearing? What is your sense?
If you see the market, and even if you see our numbers, I'm talking based on financial year. The first quarter, of course, we know April, May, June was a very bad time. The stores were literally closed. Every store was closed. So we had a major drop. But Q2, which is July to September, we started positive, mainly August and September, we started seeing positive numbers compared to last year. But the last one, like August, September onwards, the things are becoming positive in the market as well as for us also. But from Navratri onwards, which has started, for us, we are seeing more than 25% growth compared to last year, which was not expected. Of course, we have seen a positive side, but the people have started investing, maybe jewelry buying for the purpose of the jewelry or even as an investment, people gain a lot of confidence in the gold, and also maybe the personal expenses may have reduced.
Right.
Like Sachin said, travel, everything has been reduced. So they have started investing from August, September onwards. It has become, it has grown a lot. And we are seeing that positive sign today, and which is expected in the coming days, especially Dhanteras is coming, wedding season is coming. Because in South India, April, May is a big wedding season in South India. Then after that, October onwards, the season is big. So a lot of weddings which were supposed to happen in April, May have been postponed.
Well,
Because when we analyzed, we found that a lot of dates are changed, which is going to happen in October, November, December, January months.
all right.
So the wedding buying will majorly happen in these months. So we are
Absolutely.
expecting a very positive result in this coming months.
All right. But you know, as you rightly said, that the gold prices have been moving higher, and gold actually has come into the mainstream as a very strong portfolio diversifier as well. And that my question is to you, Sachin, because the business did not die out completely. People did continue to invest in gold, and the online buying came back in a very strong way. So how is the jewelry and diamond business dealing with that? How much business is now shifted to online? And what are you targeting in sense of millennial as a generation? Because we all know, it is a millennial getting married right now, and they want to think out of the box. Their choices have changed, etc. How is all of that change, and how as a jewelry sector dealing with that?
I think first and foremost, Manisha, the most important thing that we all understand being in business is that by end of 2020, 70% of our population will be millennial or younger. So the fact is that it's not anymore a small segment. It is the most important area of focus for not just the gems and jewelry business, but perhaps for any consumer business. That's part one. And of course, their consumption pattern is very different. And let's go to pre-COVID time, where they were called digital natives, when they were perhaps spending consistent time on digital, physical, and all of that. And I think COVID has only pushed that consumption or that habitual usage of digital. And I think every business form, shape, or size is adapting to digital. I'm very proud to say that as a gems and jewelry business, we've been adapting this, or sort of taking now a lead with leaps and bounds. You will see in this upcoming quarter technology getting utilized in consumer interface in a very big manner. Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, all of these things will become a way by which we'll be communicating with consumers. We ran a survey recently where we realized that an avid consumer who's coming into the physical store is going to see our category minimum of 10 times, between 7 to 10 times minimum online. So it's not just e-commerce that is the wholesale responsible for the conversion. I think the storytelling, the looking at finding about the category, looking at designs, I think all of that is really got pushed post-COVID. And the industry is doing a great job in catching up with it and being ready to the consumer requirement of today.
Ashar, similar question to you as well, because people continue to buy gold even when there was a lockdown because of the pandemic. So would you say a lot of market share is taken away by online, by digital gold, by people investing in ETFs and sovereign gold bonds as well? Do you think that would also impact the buying when it comes to this quarter?
Yes. Of course, it is increasing. The online buying is increasing. Even our e-com site also, we have seen a lot of traffic is coming there. So whether final purchase is happening on e-commerce or in the store, that depends on the buying occasion. Even for any wedding, they do a lot of research in the online. So the people usage in the online, seeing the product, understanding more about it, and trying out the brand with some test purchase. All these things are happening, and we found that traffic is increasing. Online is becoming more and more popular, especially when we came out with certain collections like for the millennials. The kind of response in the online was tremendous. So the people, that buying habit, earlier people were little doubtful whether I should buy a jewelry in online or not. But that is
Sure.
changing.
Ashar, I also want to squeeze in one more question. And, tell me if my figures are right, because we do understand that India has 3 lakh registered jewelers. How much of this figure would you say is online and is able to actually, put out their stuff there? And what is the kind of growth that we've seen in sense of online year-on-year basis, especially for this year?
See, I don't have the exact numbers, but when I checked last time, still the online numbers are very less compared to the pan-India total gem and jewelry sales. The percentage will be in very single digit or less than that.
Okay.
So which has grown a lot. The numbers today are very less. It is increased mainly because last year numbers were smaller. Still a lot more to go, because it is not only the e-commerce. People prefer the omni-channel systems where they check online or they select online, go to the store, buy there, or exchange. It's all customer needs. Customer needs are changing. People want multiple options for their buying. It's not it is not completely online, or it's not completely the brick and mortar thing. It's a combination of both.
Oh, yes.
So jewelers are getting ready for that. All jewelers are getting ready for that.
Well, that point is well taken. You really need to be spread out in Italy, especially in times like this. And Ashar and Sachin, thank you so much for joining us and explaining that whole industry to us on how it stands and how the expectations from the sector is that this quarter could see 80 to 90% of the sales come back as compared to previous years. So there are a lot of hopes really here when it comes to investment in sense of jewelry and, of course, the wedding season as well. That, of course, could be the shot in the arm there. But with that, let's slip into a short break. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we will discuss the impact of the pandemic on the tea industry in conversation with Bala Sarda of Vardham Teas and the Tea Association of India's Prabir Bhattacharjee. Welcome back. You're watching Commodity Champions, and we now shift our focus to India's favorite beverage, tea. The industry is a $90 billion market and has seen supports from strong demand for quality teas. Remember, India is currently the world's largest consumer of tea and second largest producer and exporter of tea as well, after China though. However, with production likely to drop owing to the lockdown as well as the floods in Assam and the cost of production rising, how will the sector deal with the challenges? To discuss this and more, we are now joined by Bala Sarda, who is founder and CEO at Vardham Teas. Bala, hi, thank you so much for your time. First of all, on the overall tea sector itself, we've seen the prices double up, almost double up from the previous year, and that has been because of various concerns. First, it was the shutdown, lockdown, and then it was also about excessive floods that we saw in various states. Where does the sector stand right now?
Right. Firstly, thanks for having me on the show, Manisha. I think overall, Manisha, I think, yes, the tea industry has been impacted. As you know, I think the pandemic struck the tea industry right at the peak of the first flush, which is the first harvest in places like Darjeeling. Even in Assam and South India, a lot of premium teas are grown at that point of time. And of course, production was shut for a good 20-25 days, which obviously affected. Post that, of course, we saw a lot of other calamities like the floods in Assam and a lot of other situations which we have been obviously tackling. But I think overall, if you look at the tea industry, I think in the long term, I think, post-COVID, if I could put it like that, I think there is a much bigger opportunity for the overall industry. One, of course, as you know, consumption of tea has gone up massively. I think you see that in India and the results of, companies like Unilever posting that. And I think, as you know, right, I think tea is one of the healthiest beverages you can consume. And, with this entire shift towards wellness, consumption of wellness products, I think in the long run, I think the industry. But as of now, I agree. I think production side, there is a lot of pressure. But we are hoping that, it will get better by next year.
Bala, you talked about wellness, and that exactly was my next question, because you have turmeric latte mix and you have 75 signature blends. You export tea to 93 countries. How is that business looking up right now? And, as an immunity booster, even the ministry tells you that tea is one of the best ones to have.
Absolutely, Manisha. So I think, honestly, as you rightly mentioned, the Ayush ministry also mentioned that. And honestly, we have been obviously talking about it since we started 5 years back. I think tea is one of the healthiest beverages you can consume. It's truly great. I mean, immunity is something you don't build overnight, but this is a process. And I think tea is something which helps you get there. But absolutely, the Ayush Ministry also took out a recommendation for you to consume turmeric lattes, which is haldi doodh. It asked you to have kahda, which is basically a concoction of herbs like turmeric, tulsi, giloy, amla. And of course, we already know that green teas are known to help you with their antioxidants, and flavonoids in them are known to boost overall immunity. And I think that's, Manisha, that's exactly what we did as a company. We listened to our customer. 95% of our revenue comes from online. So we were, of course, fortunate when COVID struck that we were able to still service our customers globally, right? And I think the early feedback was, a lot of customers wanted to have products which helped boost their immunity. And, as a brand, we already offered over 100 varieties of teas, but we took that feedback into stride and obviously launched a range of products, right from a Vedic Kara, we've launched 6-7 variants of green teas, and of course, a range of organic turmeric lattes, which of course, is extremely important for you to help, for you to build your immunity, right? So that's overall what we have been doing. And we see, I think personally, I see, I think this trend, not dwindling down. I think this is something which now consumers have realized is great for them, right? And I think even post-COVID, I think this will continue. And more so, right, like I said, I think more than just your traditional tea, right, which is your CTC tea, which you have with milk, the demand for teas like herbal teas, green teas, the more premium variants, which is the longer leaf variants, I think that the demand for those products have shot up even more. And I think that's probably the future of the industry.
Bala, as you said, as if India wasn't having enough tea, there are various ways to have tea now. But, I also want to know on what tea is doing the best right now. And would you say that, there is a premium attached to these teas? Because one, the longevity of it, two, the ease of carrying it around. As you said, you're exporting it as well. So 2-point question, really. One is, which tea is doing the better? And two, is there a big premium attached to in sense of pricing?
Honestly, Manisha, I think I would not say a premium attached to the pricing, because in India, we've been used to having a certain type of tea. The higher quality, the longer leaf teas, which are actually way more healthier for you, right? Because they have more vitamins, minerals retained in the longer leaf of the tea, right? Those were actually exported out of India. So I would not call them premium because they are branded like that, but a higher quality product, because the cost of production is of a certain size, they tend to be relatively more expensive than the traditional doodh ki chai we have in India. But I think that said, honestly, in India, what we have seen, of course, is a huge demand for green teas in particular. I think that is something where, we were already seeing a lot of growth in the green tea segment in India, post-COVID, of course. And, of course, with this millennial audience, a lot of consumption moving towards e-commerce, right? I think green tea has grown very well. Apart with that, I think herbal teas, right? And when I say herbal tea, I mean a tisane, which is basically not teas, in fact, but a blend of, herbs and spices like turmeric, ashwagandha, moringa, tulsi, amla, right? I think, and we do a lot of products in that category. Those have, again, of course, done extremely well. Outside India also, I think herbal teas has always led the category. I think herbal tea is one of the fastest growing categories in markets like US and Europe. And behind them is, of course, your green teas, right? And I think, like I said, one more point I would like to add, Manisha, that India is a country which is known to have their doodh ki chai, tea with milk, right? And that's actually what we as a brand have been pondering over for the last few months. And in fact, this month, we have just launched products like turmeric, ginger chai, ashwagandha, cinnamon chai, matcha lemongrass chai, which is basically your black tea and milk blended with superfoods like matcha, lemongrass, ashwagandha, and cinnamon, which is what we think consumers will adapt into as they upgrade from their everyday chai in India. Of course, they are way more healthier and, I think cater to the wellness conscious customers in India, right? And that's what our intent has been.
All right. I think, Bala, next time we meet, we should have a round of chai around doodh ki chai, herbal tea, green tea, and all of those mixed concoctions that you're talking about. But the most interesting point that you put forth was that 95% of these teas are bought online. I think that really is the point to take away with. Bala, thank you so much for joining us. But with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Commodity Champions. Thank you for watching.